Namaste and welcome to Radio Contesting webinar. Your host today and narrator is Victor Uniform to X-Ray Echo, that is Victor Uniform to XE Kiran Padiyar, and I am streaming this video from my QTH in Bangalore. Please stand by for next few seconds before we start the webinar. Thank you. Hi, this is Victor Uniform to X-Ray Echo Kiran Padiyar. Thank you very much for joining me today for this radio contesting webinar. On behalf of Amateur Radio Society of India as a contest manager, I welcome you all for this webinar. Okay, now let's talk about some of the disclaimers. I've taken some of the material from openly available public internet as well as from some of my friends in the DX contesting arena. And also, this material can be freely distributed for the good intent of the hobby. Let us get started. The objective for this webinar today is to introduce contesting, radio contesting for the VU hams, and encourage VU clubs and individuals to participate in international local contests, to provide tips on operating with limited resources in India. Very important, right? Let us start with what is contesting first, right? So contesting is a time-bound event wherein stations across the globe exchange numbers to earn scores adhering to the contest rules and local licensing rules. Those highlighted items are very, very important. They are time-bound events, and it is a fun event actually run normally across the globe with some rules and regulations, and superseding everything is a local licensing rules. So basically, hams normally compete against other hams across the country or the continent, and also DX chasers join the contest for making those rare DX contacts as well. And experimenters join, homebrewers join the contest to try out their new equipments, antennas, or going to a location to try the new propagation patterns. And almost all hams join the contest because it is fun. So there is something for every ham, I can say. That is what radio contesting is all about. And normally what we actually get from the internet, we get Western world or advanced world view of contesting. A lot of content available. They are all concentrating on US, EU perspectives, wherein they have large antenna farms, separate receiving antennas, Yagis, phased arrays, etc. Stations where the state-of-the-art rigs they have. They may be having even small stations there are normally 60 by 100 feet city lots they call. And most probably, if I can just show you, this is the picture which I have taken from again internet, which is a typical American suburb. You can see a lot of empty spaces, although it is called congested city lot. You will see that a lot of good space is there, but you have an organized way of living there. Lowest noise levels, they claim about noise in their surroundings, but if you look at some of the articles, they trace noise few kilometers away from their home station, some arcing noise in the electrical lines, and they complain to FCC and local authorities to correct that. There is an organized way of detecting the noise and troubleshooting the noise and taking actions as well. Just to give an some of the biggest stations which you can hear across the North Pole, Kilo 3 London Radio and W3 LPL, widely heard in throughout VU and South Asia, with their huge signals coming across the North Pole. They are some of the beacons, I can say, for us. If they come into the contest, we will definitely hear them, and we can always hope for making some whiskey land contacts in the contest for sure. Even with the low dipole, you can make. So I'm just giving that perspective just to set the background, and why VU is very different, right? This webinar is mostly for the VUs. VU in India, if you see, this is another photo in contrast to the other one, which was a very organized suburb. Here you can see random buildings and some organized buildings as well. I'm not saying that everything is random, but most majority of us live in cities and smaller suburbs will face something like this. And for example, myself, I live in an apartment, and some of my friends live in small lots. Typically, lot sizes are 60/40 or even lesser. 30/30, 30/40 sizes are very common in cities like Bangalore, and mostly people like me live in apartments. Most operate homebrewed and or basic rigs. They are not kind of rigs made for contest for sure, with the wide open front ends, right? So in contrast to the stations which we just saw earlier, they were using K3, aircraft K3 or in ICOM 78 X series, something like that on a high end side, right? There are stations like Kilo 9 Charlie Tango, which uses SDR stations, flex radio stations for their contests. In our part of the world, most of the rigs are basic rigs. Noise and RFI is all over. We cannot pinpoint one source, one at one location, and try to eliminate. It is all over. We will have to deal with it. We will have to live with it. We live far away from the most crowded ham population of the world. So we categorize three major pockets, right? North America, Europe, and Japan. These are the largest categories where pockets where ham population live. And we are far away. South Asia and our subcontinent is far away from this. So the nearest continental multiplier, which will come to later in the presentation, will see that they are living. They are at least to reach Russia, eastern part of Russia. We will require a significant amount of propagation or power and combination of everything, right? And most of the VU hams do not speak English as a native, the first language. It is not that VUs cannot converse in English. It is not their first language. It is not their mother tongue, not their native language. So many of the hams, majority of our hams, think that DX is not for them. They feel shy, and they don't come on the band for the DX. Whenever the DX propagation opens, they close down, or they go into the local area type of nets, or get into the local conversation. It is not bad. Only thing is they shy away from the DX, thinking that it is not for them. The contest is not for them. In fact, it is fun to operate a contest, fun to be on DX side, majorly because VU, that is the Victor Uniform in India, is a multiplier for the contesters across the globe. It is a country multiplier, and because our count is very less in India who actively participate in contests, We have a very good multiplier for we are a very good multiplier for the foreign stations. Constraint is a mother of innovations, right? So a lot of optimization opportunity for our hams, VU hams for sure. Many of the VU hams homebrew a lot. They actually do a wonderful work, and they can bring the efficient transmission mechanisms, the rigs, antennas, filters across the board to the contest for sure. So if there is a constraint of import, constraint of getting on air, definitely people innovate all the time. So that is another fun to do. And third is, if the propagation is good, if you are having a decent station, we can also generate a lot of pileups on us. So very importantly, later we will come to a skill called operating the runs during the contest, which is very important skill. And this is very typically comes into very handy when your propagation is very good, and you are running a decent station, right? VU contesters also have advantage on the lower bands, majorly on 160, 80, and 40. Very few hams are now active on the DX side of the bands. There are few nets which we run on 40 and 80, but they don't we don't actually get into the DX side, either in CW or any other mode for that matter. So they are very rare, and the DX stations actually hog for them. If you are on those bands, sure, definitely there are a lot of callers waiting for you. So definitely it is a fun. Let us talk about type of contest, right? There is a contest just for every interest. Band specific contest and mode specific contest, mixed mode contest. Then we have local based localized contest. Like we ran in India. We have our own field days, our own contest in the for the 40 meters. We had contest last year. Similarly, a lot of regional contests also run. There are sprints in US and Western world. They run fastest type of contest called sprint. They run actually for few, not more than few hours at time, right? And then there are field days, as I was mentioning. They are also running as contests, VHF and the normal HF field days. And then there are year-long marathons. It need not be for few hours at a time, but it can be competitive nature throughout the year in the form of marathons. So I will have a few slides on marathon as well. I will go over that a little later. So basically, there are some seasons, right, for the contest. Contest, although it runs throughout the year, the major contests run in seasons. First season is during September to November. That is, we are running this webinar today in October. We are mid of this major contest season. We have a lot of contests like Worked All Europe, All Asia, CQWW, which is very very popular and mega event in the ham population, ham contesters perspective. We have another season in February to April, spring season. That is when CQWPX, ARRLDX, and some other major contests run as well. Those are also very good contests to participate. December to Jan is normally low band contest season, and then we have other slots for IARU, HF field days, etc. during May to July time frame. They come, and there are a lot of things happen in those times as well. But majorly it is fall season and spring season, which takes a lot of contests. Preparations. Let's talk about something about preparations, right? How to prepare, how to go about it. First thing in preparations is knowing what contests come, when they are coming. You should have a plan of or a view of contest throughout the year. We have very good website is at Whiskey Alpha 7 Bravo November Mexico contest calendar, WA7 BNM. It is actually, you can web search Google and get that. So it is a weekly calendar, as well as you can get a calendar for the entire year. It shows lot of contests and their links to the rules, when they are appearing, what is the scoring mechanism and all that. So one has to decide as a prepare for the preparation of the contest, right? One has to prepare for, one has to decide for which category, whether he wants to get into CW contest, SSB contest, single operator all band, SOAB, or single operator single band, QRP mode, low mode, or high mode, assistance to be used or not to be used. These are the things which a contester, the ham, has to decide prior to the contest, getting into the rules and studying them, right? And understand the special categories such as wires and rookies. These are very specific categories in some of the contests which people can use themselves to classify in those special categories and compete with other similar hams who are in the category. And always encourage, if you are yourself, you are not participating in ham radio contests, encourage your friend to get into a contest. If it is the first time, encourage them to join a group, in local clubs, make a group and make one small contest event. It can be a party wherein you can have a part-time contesting and then have some fun to start with. But definitely it can be major serious operation as well, as some of the serious DXers and contesters do. So it can just start with some tinkering around the contest time, listening to the bands and get hang of it. And once you get a hang of it, definitely I will assure you that it is a hang for the life. So it is a lot of fun. You have to be prepared. The first step is knowing what comes, how to actually, what are the rules, what category you want to apply or play with, and choosing those and making sure that you are part of a group or you are part of some special category. Then reading out the rules, right? I will just go this little bit fast out here on the rules. So each contest has got some rules, so one has to read the rules very carefully. In the earlier slide, I had explained about calendars, which actually get you to the rules website for each of the contests. Now we will have to decide about what rules apply and how actually we will have to participate. Specifically, if you are participating in some of the first time, or if you are participating in some of the contests which require you to give a number, which is exchange, which we call in the contest. Not, typically, the contest exchanges are signal report, and they are normally 5-9. Even though the signal is lower, audible, less audible, you don't say that 4-3 and then give the number. It is a normal and normal practice in the contesting world that you give 5-9 or 5NN, and then you may be giving in for the CQWW, you may be giving CQ zone, which is like a 2-2. We will come to that a little later, but important fact point from this particular slide is about writing down that exchange number when you are a beginner in the contest, because you will forget what to exchange with other station. Some of the contests which will require you to exchange the running sequence number, and some of these will require, some of the other contests will require zone or a state or age to be exchanged. So a most important aspect about rules is Although high power category allows worldwide the legal power limit, so you will have to know that what is the legal power limit in VU. You have to stay within the boundaries of the rules, rules of the land, and go abide with that, and have fun with the contest. So then the next stage, after you actually decide about what contest to enter, what time you will be having required to enter. Then there is a software side of it. So many of VU hams use some or the other softwares to log the normal QSOs. Some use paper logs, and here, because the contest is more of efficiency and speed, it is highly recommended, or it is becoming more of a mandatory type of a thing, without which we cannot operate a high speed contest like CQWW or any other such contest, right? So it becomes very important that we get acquainted with logging. We use logging for accurate entries of the contacts, to identify duplicates, and also very important on the software that I want to mention, that because of my learnings about the software upgrades, this N1MM is one of the popular software, which is the screenshot has been displayed out here. They actually release a lot of upgrades, basically patches which comes to the software automatically whenever you actually start the program. If you wait for such upgrades during the contest time, there are possibilities that you delay, or you actually lose some score because you are upgrading instead of making QSOs. So make a thumb rule that you have to upgrade all the software at least a week before. Keep all the country files and check files up, as required by the software, up to date, so that you will feel good. And don't shy away from using any software for your day-to-day operation as well. It makes your life easy, and it makes a contest time much easier. So exchanges, we were talking about some exchanges. Just want to specify what is the exchange for CQWW. The exchange is CQ zone. India is CQ zone 22. So in CQ contest, we actually exchange 592222 for the zone. Okay, and in WPX contest, CQWPX, it is more of a number, serial number. You give 001, 002 for each of the contest, each of the contacts in there. And some other contests may be having their own categories of exchange, but you have to go through the exchange rules to know about them, and prepare yourself. Now coming to the station, right? Very important aspect is that to be efficient in the contest, you should have a computer control configured. So you have to have a transceiver which is having a cat cable which is connected to the computer, and you can control that. You have to have a properly tuned antennas. Don't compromise on antennas, right? Even if it is dipole, it should be properly tuned for the band. Very important. Don't use much of the tuner, and make a rig happy, whereas your antenna is not at all tuned. You are actually using some device to tune in between your transmitter and the antenna. So you use properly tuned antennas. It gives a lot of efficiency. And also, because contest is a kind of a high speed event wherein you are required to be on the air for prolonged period at one stretch, it is better to have a good radiator than a good dummy load, or a good mediator in between, so that you can actually become efficient during the contest. Your signals become more heard throughout the world. So dipoles and verticals are okay. Simple dipoles, humble vertical are always the winners. I've known stations who operate dipoles across coconut trees near to the beaches, and less than 100 watts they can make a lot of contacts. But serious contesting needs efficiency. That is a definitely a golden rule for any ham. It is not just for contesting, but if you are a ham, strive for efficiency. Very important. um, I started. This is VU3 KPL was my first call sign till 2016. I started contesting in 2012. I'm not so old timer with all this contesting. I got some homebrewed hex beam just made for 15 meter. That is two element wire beam with the fishing poles. You can imagine how actually that can be, right? And it was only 15 feet above the ground level with the 857. I made 125 contacts, just 125 contacts. Why I'm saying stressing on 125 contacts is 125 contacts is nothing major in the big contests. People rake up hundreds of contacts, whereas I was majorly happy with that, and I was thrilled to operate with the 857 and portable beam. I last year in 2000 2 years back, with a similar setup, but bit more better location. I would say not better location, but at a high in my apartment, which is actually an 14-story apartment with a hex beam on top of the terrace and 50 watts. I made more than 1000 QSOs. That is another very important aspect, right? So we are talking about very simple stations. I'm talking about to take some examples. VU2NXM Basapaji, my good friend in ham world, he uses old Tentec 540 and long wire antenna. See his antenna. I've just marked that antenna, which is a simple dipole. He uses the tuner. It is a long wire dipole. He can use that, and he came number one in VU. Right? There is a spell check there. I made that, but his point is skill is most important in the contest or in the ham world. It is not about the station. Station may be elegant, very simple, but it is a skill which makes one come out of that, right, and stand out, right? So in most of the VUs, I just wanted to show most popular antenna in VU, which is hex beam. We are not using stacks of monobanders. We are using stacked element on multibanders, right? So hex beam has become most popular. In the leftmost picture, you will see my first 15 meter single band antenna, which I homebrewed at my home QTH back then in near to Mangalore. Whereas in the right side, you will see another very good professionally made by the ham X beam there. A lot of people I know, a lot of hams use hex beam for their day-to-day operation. I really like. I used to have this hex beam for long, and whenever I actually chatted with my ham friends, I used to call it as Gagana Pushpa, right? It is a sky flower for real reason, because it attracts lot of DX, a lot of bands, agility or flexibility in operation. You can switch the bands without changing the antennas. Without on a single coax, you have got 5 bands on it. So that was a big breakthrough few years back in VU. So special mention and for hex beam there, which can be very good antenna contest time antenna. I am putting another example out here. VU2 Delta Echo Delta Ajay. He is a consistent player in CQWW and other contests. His funda in life is persistence. Whether it is a small contest or big contest, he actually makes a point that he gets into the contest with the low power, and actually he gets into those type of gets into the rhythm of contest entries, and makes that as a very good habit. Here also you can see that he is operating with a simple dipole. It is not a big antenna here. We are not talking about any fancy thing, and we can see that he is number one on single operator assisted mode entry last year, this year 2017 WPX, right? We are talking about some mega stations as well. As I mentioned about another friend, View to YVK Vijayda in Bangalore uses step IR, and you can see the size of step IR compared to the VHF Yagi out here in the top of this tower. He mainly comes on SSB, and does a lot of contest time contacts as well. These are the few stations which I could gather. I know a lot of other stations in VU who are having excellent setups as well, because due to the time constraints and availability of those, I could not show. But definitely, I just took these as examples. Now, another preparation which we'll have to do is understanding of propagation, right? Probably around 2013, I posted one query on VU hams about, if somebody can help me to understand what bands are open for North America and other geographies during the morning time and during the evening time. That particular question nobody answered me. I don't know the reason, but I started researching on that, right? I started researching on propagation. Contest time, it definitely requires your understanding of the propagation. If you don't understand the propagation for the first time when you are a new ham, it is okay, but there is a which band opens at what time to a particular continent is very important. So for that you need to be very regular on the air, and try some of the bands calling CQ, even if there is no activity on the band. Don't shy away from calling CQ when the bands are empty during the regular times. Check the propagation website. There are very good websites. I will go through a couple of them later in coming slides. But you will learn a lot of things on propagation by looking at A index, K index, solar flux, solar wind speed, and other parameters. Right? They are very important aspects when it comes to our skywave propagation, which on in HF world. You will also see that some of the VU hams do a lot of long path QSOs. Understand what they are, how when they are doing a long path QSOs versus short path. What is a long pass versus short pass? Understand from them. Talk to them, and even if you don't have directional antennas like Yagis, you will learn a lot of things. These are the propagation is definitely one important aspect. But then contest time magic happens. A lot of stations come on the air, and you will see that you even though propagation sometimes shows not so good, you will be able to make some contact, because people use good power. People are all the time listening, and they are on the band all the time. I'm taking an example of a very good prediction site, the solar weather or propagation prediction site, which is openly available on the web, called VOA Cap. You basically enter the transmitter site and receiving site. You actually use the map and then drag the site locations, and tell what antenna you are using, what receiver you may be using. Just put some numbers, or choose some values there, and start predicting. So it gives a chart like this. A lot of options are there on the website, but I'm just taking some examples how useful they are during your contests or even DXing in the normal regular world, right? So you will see this short path for propagation throughout the day, like 24 hours UTC. Normally the time is in UTC. For us in India, 0 UTC means 5:30 a.m. in the morning. So you will see that band numbers out here from 10 to 80. Path reliability. I have chosen this path from point A to point B, or whatever point it may be, that you will, for the given points, it will give me short path reliability. The red or orange shows here is high probability of making contacts during this time. For example, on 20-meter band, you will have a high probability of contacts with that station or with that region between 13 UTC and 15 UTC. Between 13, 14 and 15 UTC, you will have a very high probability. Similarly, you will have a lot of other charts out here. Probably you can actually go get into VOA cap and experiment with some more. And here is another visualization from the same website, which gives hour by hour how the propagation is changing. For example, this is a chart of for CW mode, 14 megahertz, 20-meter band from 13 UTC, that is 6:30 p.m. India time, to to 16 UTC, right? And you will see that the propagation is dense during dense near to VU. Just watch the borders or the boundaries of this patch out here, that or red and orange patch, right? And it changes the directions and the spread with the time changes. And you will see that you will see that North American propagation, which was there around, which you can see that between 14 UTC, it is there slightly towards the east part of North America. It actually gets better at 15 UTC, and even better during 15 UTC to 16 UTC. So you will see that the propagation decreases as time progresses, and you will see that even if when you are at that point of time, even if you are calling CQ, there are very few stations from other part of the world. Probably your South America opens up during that time, whereas North America, you will see that there are no signals and from the North America. So I'm just taking some examples, taking some screenshots from VOA cap. If you are interested, if you are experimenter, if you are a researcher, just for the fun sake as well, you go to that website and check a lot of possibilities and observe the bands accordingly, and it will be useful for everyone, for you for sure in the contest. There is another very important propagation, real-time propagation monitor, which I use, is a reverse beacon network. Basically, what it reports is if anybody is calling CW or RTTY CQs from station, there are a lot of stations around the world who are automatically receiving this CQ which has been done on a particular frequency. Then they give SNR, signal to noise ratio, strength of the signal in dBs. So you will see that a lot of stations. There is a station in India run by VU's contest group. Listening. There are some other stations are also getting installed throughout the world on a daily basis, and you will see that lot of information can be gathered, saying that when particular signal can be can be monitored or can be heard at a particular given point of time on a particular band. So very interesting feature of or a website or a facility application on reverse beacon. I basically these two are the very important aspect which you, if you normally observe these on a daily basis or whenever you come to the shack, just observe reverse beacon spots, see how actually the propagation is working, who are actually getting heard from which particular location. You will get a sense of propagation and band condition out here. There are, finally, I would to note that predictions are predictions, but be on the air. You never know which path is going to open, which path is going to open for North America, which is going to be open for South America, or if there is a crooked path between you and some Pacific Ocean, DX country, it may come very strong. One day I heard Kilo Hotel 6 Hawaiian station, which was coming like a local station for me at night. I was literally amazed with that station. So there are a lot of times that you feel predictions are not working towards you, but suddenly band opens and band becomes clear for you and the DX. Um, it is stations normally are on listening mode and transmit mode throughout the duration of the contest, and so people actually you can hear a lot of signals even if there is a dip in the propagation. As I said, surprises are there. As my good friend RCT Chandra says, contest time has its own prediction. So he, whenever contest comes, you never know is what actually is the essence to be taken from this particular slide there. Let's go to the software side a bit. I just covered this little bit in the previous slides, but very importantly, the point here is to stay away from the casual logging software such as Ham Radio Deluxe or Logger 32. If you do not know how to configure those casual logging softwares for the contest, shy away from there, stay away from there, right? They are not meant especially for the contest. They are meant for only casual logging, day-to-day logging exercises or logging of the your contacts. Stay away from there, and as I mentioned earlier, do all the upgrades at least in 1 week in advance. CW, a lot of people, a lot of my friends who are SSB, including myself, I was SSB as well for many years with the very little CW. We all thought that CW is not for us, right? But really, CW is the king, right? So it has got lot of opportunities and potential if you want to explore the bands. Uh, if it is not fun, it is most fun. You will have to learn, listen to the CW. You basically, I would give a couple of hints out here. It is not that you will have to be master of rack choose. I can do a high speed contest today at 30 to 35 words per minute by just using the skill of copying the call signs and giving them the report. If you ask me to, frankly, if you ask me to, do a rack chew at 25 words per minute also, I will not be able to do it. I have to honestly admit that. But it is a skill in the contest to be on a high speed, copying the contacts and giving the numbers. That is the skill which you require. Optimize your skill, and probably you will learn, you will love, you will fall in love with CW and get onto high speed rack shoe also in the future. Who knows what will happen? But definitely, if you know how to copy your own call sign, and how to actually use the computer to generate the calls if in absence of paddle of the key. It is all that what you require, right? Transmitting on the DX contesters audio passband. Most of the time, in the initial days of my contest, I try to transmit without knowing where to actually exactly to transmit. If a contest caller is calling on some frequency, I would go near to him and directly call. But normally, the contesters use very narrow filters for the CW as well as SSB. Especially on the CW, they use very narrow filters like 100 hertz or 150 hertz and things like that. So if you are not in their pass band, they will not be hearing you. You repeatedly give your call, they will not hear you. You should be dot on their frequency or off by few hertz, 50 hertz max, right? So you will get to know this by practice, but definitely the point here is don't just stay near to the DX frequency during the contest and give them a call. So it will not work. So normally the contest speed is 25 words per minute. So you don't have to worry about it, because all the contesters slow down for the slower stations. If you are definitely calling from VU, and you are calling at 10 or 15 words per minute, definitely the DX contester who want VU multiplier will slow down. And especially if you are a slow operator, my personal this thing is, if you are not very much serious about it but just to have a fun and hang off the contest, try to get onto the band or the contest for the second day, not the first day. In the first day, lot of European and other fastest high speed contesters, what they do is lot of high speed contacts they try to make. They are all called run stations. And in the second day onwards, what I observed is most of the contest stations are looking for multipliers. It is that time when low power station or QRS stations, that is QRS is slow speed stations, have a majority of the chance to get through get through in their log. So so it comes by practice, but I think you get my point there. The software keyer, I was mentioning about keyers to use instead of paddle or key, because it is a long running continuous operation. You may be fed up with your wrist, you may be fed up with your even thumb, and to operate CW sometimes. But integrated keyer like K1EL, which I use, which I was using earlier, now I am using microham small keyer, or even TTL logic, which people implement homebrew at home with some transistor switching will work. But essential that you can connect your contest logging software with the CW keyer to make it much fun. I use a software called Morse Runner. It requires a special mention because that is the that is what I use for practicing at home, even when I'm not connected to the radio. You don't have to connect this to radio. It is a small application, Morse Runner. You can search that on the web. You can set a lot of parameters, like you can select a type of the contest, you can select a pile up mode, you can actually set up noise levels, QRM on the band, and run and set at your own pace. At your own pace, you can actually start logging the contacts and try to make lesser and lesser mistakes, because mistakes in the contests are very important. They actually sometimes they have a penalty for each of the mistake. To accurately log and hear things and log requires some practice. So I use Morse Runner. I tell all of you, suggest all of you to try this Morse Runner software to practice your CW. What are the things to consider during the during the contest? Very different operating practices are there. There is a practice called run, in which you actually call CQ and wait for the other station to come back. So in that, in the contest mode, you actually say CQ Victor Uniform to X-ray Echo contest, or you say that in a very simple two time calling and giving a K sign, as I've written here. So very important that aspect out here is that make your CQ call as short as possible. Don't call CQ too long, so that the multiplier searchers also shy away from giving you the contacts. So run is one of the aspect, and search and pounce, which is nothing but you are actually searching for a station who is calling the CQ and giving your call to them, and exchanging the number. This is where most of us start, begin the contesting life. We actually search the callers instead of running our own stations and giving them the numbers. So this is more of I use both of the combination right now. If I feel that band is much open and a lot of callers are getting me through in first or second call, I switch over to run. Run is a place wherein you fix the frequency, you set the frequency, and you start giving CQ. And a lot of stations may come back to your call, and you can exchange the numbers that way. But if you are having very low rate, a run rate, that is the number of QSOs per hour, which can be displayed on your logging software, you may actually then switch to search and pounce mode. But it is your choice. What not to do, it is very important. What to do, I have told. What is the preparation and the station requirement, we have covered. What not to do, right? Don't ask for handle, QTH, etc., weather and all that, right? Contesters are high speed contesters. They don't actually stop and listen for all of our stories. Please don't ask about that. Please don't ask his call sign when he called CQ multiple times and you actually responded to him with your call sign. Don't ask that come again with your call sign. If you don't copy his call sign, please try multiple times to copy. If you are doing a search and pounce, for sure wait till the time you note down his call sign properly. Don't ask the station about his call sign again. It is actually the contester may shy away and he will call CQ on top of your transmission. Don't don't ask don't tell that you are copying him weak, etc., just like in the regular Rakchu saying that I am from Bangalore, my name is, my handle is Kiran, etc., but you are coming weak today, what's up and all that, right? It is a contest. They are serious contesters and they will start CQing on top of your signal. Don't feel bad about it, but that is how the contests run. They run for making score, not to make somebody else happy. But very important aspect, right? When um, if a contester comes when you are doing a Rakchu, or if you are calling a CQ and a contester comes and tries to give you a number, don't actually deny him the number. At least as a courtesy, it becomes that you are 5'9", and what contest are you in, what exchange you require from me, is the question which you can ask the contester. Definitely the contester who is looking for the multiplier will tell you what he needs. Okay, but don't vanish from the frequency when you called the CQ and somebody came to you. There are tendencies that you may not be requiring that, you may not be interested in the contest. Just specify to the caller that I am not in the contest, but you are number 1. You are 59 and your number is 001. That helps a lot, and it is in true ham spirit. Okay, do not overdrive finals or your audio. It is most of the time we have to tune the station, we have to tune our transmission so that we sound very clean, and there is no RFI intermodulate modulation distortion, or any other aspect of the signal which gets into impurity. Okay, homebrewer notes. Some of the homebrewers definitely are. There are a lot of homebrewers in India, and we want to enjoy just like others who are using commercial ones. Very important aspect is to make sure, just like I said earlier, to make sure that the rig which you are using, the homebrew rig which you are using, is outputting very clean signal. There is no harmonic distortion coming out of that. You are transmitting on 20 meter and there is a second harmonic on 28 megahertz. That should not happen, right? Make sure that you are putting proper filters in transmit also. The band pass filters are in place. Check the AC filters and other aspects to reduce your audio hum. So normally, if you are not having proper filters in the audio line, you may be encountering some hum. So make sure that your hum is reduced. You don't overdrive your finals. You use appropriate final level filters. Audio quality. Check the audio quality with other hams prior to the event, to make sure that it is sharp and crisp audio, to make a DX contact or a local contact as well, right? It is always fun, right? During the contest time, you can take your rig to a remote location, probably on a receive mode, or if you are having a change of QTH permission taken from WPC, go to a quieter place. Go near a beach where your signal will be enhanced due to salt water. Go near a hill. Go near a village where very less density of electrical pollution may be present. So that is where you will actually do a lot of experiments. You will learn a lot of things about your own rig, and you can definitely cherish about the moments which you during the contest. So there is a homebrewer. If you are a homebrewer, lot of opportunity in the contest for sure. But decide about your objective in the contest. What you want to achieve? Are you really towards making scores, or you want to put your homebrewed gears? It may be your bandpass filter, it may be your homebrewed HF rig, or it may be your antenna. You want to put all this into the test, and or you want to have fun on the band only with just a combination of these two, right? Decide your objectives and stick to the objectives. That gives lot of things to have fun there. SWLs, right? Shortwave listeners. I started my hobby as SWL first, and most of us do SWLs nowadays. Lot of rigs are there, as well as cheap dongles, and SDR have become very popular in the market, right? If you are having access to SDRs, do make a point that on a contest day, you get on to you switch on these SDRs and observe the band map. You will see lot of stations. You can record them. You can check the quality. You can actually have fun with that, because you can see lot of stations with the closely spaced stations giving the reports. You can understand how critical is a clean receiver or a good quality receiver is during the contest time. So you, as a SWL, you can learn a lot of things just coming out of broadcast band reception, getting into the ham band, and trying to make a note of these signals as well, right? There is something for everyone. So SWL also will enjoy contest time. This is my station setup now. I use TS590. I use my homebrewed LD MOS amplifier, which is a W6PQL kits, which has some of the elements there. I use micro ham keyer, um, and I use spider beam wire Aggie and N1mm antenna. I just want to play a couple of audio clips from my recent contest, just to show how it sounds like from my station. Just stand by. You will find that Cabrillo is one of the export formats, and almost all the contest organizers accept the logs in Cabrillo format. Okay, there are some. If you are not able to get Cabrillo format out, if it is ADI format, then also there are some converters available on either on the contest organizers site or on the Google. If you can Google, you can always Google them and get a converter utility for yourself and convert your log into Cabrillo format. Mention very clear not to miss out on the call sign with which you entered the contest, the emails which you want to use, the category of submission also is very important when you are submitting. Normally the log should be submitted within 5 to 7 working days nowadays, and majority of the contest organizers are stopping the paper log receptions. So most of the organizers are accepting only computerized logs nowadays. And if you are in the contest, and if you do not want to compete, if you do not want your scores to be considered for any reason, for example, you made only 10 contacts or 5 contacts, or you might have made 200 contacts, but you don't want to get your scores qualified for the competition, but still you want to honor the other contesters in their log checking. Means like the software which the organizers use are going to actually look at your log to check and validate the other competent contesters logs. If you do not submit your log, then the competing contester may not be having your entry in the log checking software. So give a chance to them, honor the rules. Just upload the logs as check log if you are not sure whether to compete or no. Even then it will help. So there are some some announcements which will come during next year or so. During the course of the year, we are trying to make contest more fun in VU as well. So a lot of certificates and awards we are planning in line with the popular contest time and contesting. So just get tuned yourself on the email and other channels of RC. You will hear something. So there are other aspects. Once you submit the log, you can always look for the websites like 3830 scores for reading interesting articles people write from multi contesting stations like W3 LPL or K3 LR, and all these stations write interesting aspects of the contesting times which they have, and it is always fun to read what happens at other stations, and you can learn something from those sites. Also, it is very important that after every contest, you check what needs to be improved from your own perspective, and what went wrong, and how actually you can improvise the station capabilities. You always keep a tab on it, and try to improvise. If your operating schedule needs to be well planned in the future, think about it. What are your peak times of operation? What are the off times of operation? If you are concentrating on only on the on search and pounds, did you actually work the multipliers, or did you only run the QSOs, which are plain vanilla QSOs, single point QSOs? Just make a study of your own log, or also there are some logs which are available in the public domain. Normally, the contest organizers, CQWW or any other organizers, make the logs available to all to view as well. Some of the logs, selected logs, they may be publishing it, so you can actually get into those logs and check how actually they are performing. Means what time they are peaking up, how the content run rate has been, and all those studies you can do. Other aspect I just want to briefly touch upon is about World Radio Sports Team Championship, which is a WRTC, which happens every 4 years. In It is just like Olympics of HF contesting. It is upcoming is in Germany in 2018, right? So it is something which the teams from across the world actually get nominated, because by going through the qualifying scores in the various other contests, and then organizers of this WRTC actually make the field, or the operating standardization, operating procedure standardization, so that everyone gets the same equipment setup, same antennas in the similar geography, in the same country or same region. They all come together, and the skill of an operator is tested. It is one of the paramount accomplishment in the field of contesting. So there is a you can actually go to this WRTC2018.de website to learn more about WRTC upcoming event in 2018. So I'm just taken some VU contester ranking, which is automatically picked by WRTC team with their softwares, looking at our log submission over the period of 2 years or 4 years. Normally it is a 2 years, I think. It gives various contests which we have participated in, and how the contest, how much scoring we have done, and then there is a weightage for each of the contests. They actually take care of it, and then they compute our overall ranking in Asia and the world as well. So this just to give an background some information about WRTC. Probably some of you may be interested to know more about it, and it is definitely a fun event. There are a lot of good YouTube videos as well of past WRTC events. In VU, we most of the hams are also on VHF. Like they start with VHF, and the contest need not be just on HF and DX contest, right? So last 2 years back, in 2013, that is 4 years now, we had a very successful and popular contest which happened organized by RC, which was mainly to get hams to the hilltop stations and hilltop positions and operate from there. Um, so a lot of stations went out. 18 plus teams went out to the hills and operated. It was very successful event. Lot of people enjoyed this type of event. They competed for the grid squares, good news is that we are working on improved format of this event. Definitely, we will try to get this event back. Much more fun on not just VHF but also on 6 meter and other bands as well. So it would be more open, more fun, and more attractive to all of us in VU. Um, there is another type of a contest called a marathon, which runs for over the year, throughout the year, which counts DXCC, contacts which one has made throughout the year. It is run again by CQ Amateur Radio, or organizers, the same people who actually run CQWW, WPX, and it is again, you can see some scores from Asia. The top scorers I can see for phone, CW, and digital, all are Indian stations out here in Asia, right? Um, for phone, it is the VU2 WJ, Whiskey Japan, and CW, it is VU2 MUD, digital, it is VU2 ABS. These are the high scoring participants from India itself. So I can say that a lot of interest is there in this type of formats in contest from VU, and we have very good participation, and interest in these type of formats as well. So what next to do? What next? For hams, interested hams, nothing stops. You can always participate in the contest. Spread the message of contesting, and organize some local contest as well, between the clubs, within the clubs, between the clubs. We will try to get something for the national level as well. But it is definitely fun if all of you start get onto the air during the contest, understand how the contest operators work, and how actually they exchange the formats and all that. It is always the fun. So I encourage everybody to get onto the contest in the due course, and you can always post some queries on RC VU email forums, and there would be definitely people who are contesters who would be answering the questions, if you have any questions there. Look out for some of the further contesting and DX related webinars which we will be publishing, which will be streaming in the similar manner based on the review comments which we will receive, based on the topic which we will shortlist. Also, we will be announcing some of the RC contest, for the upcoming years. So I welcome all of your feedback on the same. So have a great time. There are some additional references which I am just putting on this YouTube streaming today. The N1MM logging software, contest planning site, contest webinar. Webinars you can find at contestuniversity.com as well, and then there are other sites which you can refer. My sincere thank you to many of the hams who have helped me, VU contest group which I am part of, informal group of hams in the contest. During the contest time, we get to know about each other. We keep that relationship going in VU, and we support each other's aspirations. Lot of hams whose names may not be here. I've taken few of the names: VU to MUD, YVK, NXM, DED, VU to CPL, and also like VU2 IBI, who has sent me last minute photos of his shack as well. So thank you all for giving me some opportunity to present this. Special thanks to MUD, because he had presented similar content in BARC club meeting. I took some of the content and which I made it more relevant to this audience, and a lot of hams who actually keep me inspired all the time. The list goes on. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you everyone for listening to this and watching this video. Hope you all get onto the HF bands and VHF contests whenever it happens on the band, and definitely I'm sure you will have a lot of fun. Thank you very much, and 73s. This is Victor Uniform 2 X-Ray Echo now signing off. Thank you.